Here comes the Clarity series brought to you by Inspiration Site and hosted by Chris. It's about to be a long ride, and I guess you are very ready to get some clarity, discover, recover, uncover, and don't forget like, comment, share, subscribe, and turn on your notification bell.
Hi, welcome to another episode of the Clarity series. I hope you've been having so much of insight from our previous episode, and I hope you are ready for another episode to learn and to experience. From the title, I know that you have been guessing what's this about, but yeah, it's about food science and technology, and I'm so glad to have a food scientist in the house to bring us clarity today. It's my pleasure to welcome Esther Modupe Oladipo.
Hi,
You're welcome. Welcome to Clarity Series.
thank you so
For
much.
You're
Thank you so
welcome.
much
For
for
our
having
audience,
me.
Esther Modukola Adipo is a food scientist and a master's student at the Federal University of Technology, Akure, Nigeria, FUTA. With a strong research interest in food and nutrition science, plant-based proteins, and sustainable food systems. She currently doubles as a research assistant at the International Institute of Tropical Agriculture, IITA, where she is gaining hands on experience in research driven food and nutrition initiatives. She is a
Yeah.
professional member of the Nigerian Institute of Food Science and Technology and the Society of Underutilized Legumes. Our work focuses on translating scientific research into practical solutions that address food security, nutrition, and innovation in tropical food systems. Esther is passionate about research, capacity building, and advancing evidence based approaches to improving food quality and nutritional outcomes in Africa. It's so glad to have you here. And
Thank you
this
so
is the first
much.
this is my first reaction to your bio. We have quite a lot of things in common.
Yeah.
I'm serious.
Okay. I'm at peace now.
Plant-based protein is something I am working on. I am interested in and I'm
Really?
working on. Yes, and I'm studying sustainable food systems. So as I saw it there, I'm like, oh wow.
Wow.
Yeah, that's so interesting. I
That.
think we need to talk about that because of the episode. So yeah, I would first start by this, like, how was the journey of food science tech for you? Being your choice for undergraduate and now for your master's degree. Why did you choose it and how has the journey been?
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Grace, for having me once again. Um, Food science and technology. I think I first heard about it too when I was applying for JAMB. I think I've slightly heard about it. One of my cousin big sister, she studied it in FUNAM, Federal University of No, I was in secondary school. She was already in the university, and back then I was so passionate about becoming a medical laboratory scientist. I think I had to write down the times. At another point, I had to choose pharmacy, but then I just had to think. I have a sister who is doing food science and technology, right? And I'm someone that if you see me in real life, I may not look like the food I eat apparently. So I'm not a very big person. Yeah. So how do this food? Why is it that every other person around me they are growing so well, so big? We're eating the same. In fact, I went to boarding school and then we're eating the same proportion of meal, and it seemed like okay, it's different from me. So given the fact that for food science in the school I chose to requires a combination I would write in jam. I started to think with my mother's guidance actually. She saw the potential in food science, my sister is doing it, and why not go for this course? I heard that there is a good prospect in it. So apparently, I did not have any idea about what food science is, except for the fact that I had known that it is beyond. I just knew it wasn't food and nutrition because I mean, the typical secondary school food and not courses that we do. Because when I was in school, people that are doing food and not, what did you basically just catering? So I just knew it wasn't catering. And my mother enlightened me. I just put in for food science and technology at my school, the Federal University of Oye, Federal University of Ekiti rather. So that was how I found myself in food science. And I didn't entirely have a grasp of what the course was about
Yeah.
until my second, third year. Basically Nigerian universities, you begin to do your actual coursework in the
Mm,
second year and the third year. Yeah. So that was when I started having a grasp. And I think my first encounter with it was not so sweet because we started with the engineering part of science. I was like, I signed up for being a food scientist. Why am I doing engineering? But apparently I didn't know that they were interwoven. We did a lot of
yeah.
engineering courses, TD, technical drawing, civil engineering courses, mechanical engineering courses. Like, hey. But then with time, I had to understand that all of these things are so interconnected rather. So
Mhm.
I basically I just had to wanted to know how this food actually worked in my body system, and I had a very good support system. So it was not jam giving me. I put in for the course myself, and that's how I found myself in food science. And over time, it became very beautiful. Clarity came from my
Yeah.
industrial training year till
Mhm.
now. I'm still on it. Yeah.
That's so beautiful. It's so beautiful to hear your story, and I think
Thank
I
you.
can relate
I
to
have
it
to
so
use
well.
this.
I mean, just choosing something, and it's when you get to school you start to unpack
Yeah.
what it really means. And I'm glad you had that clarity at the end of the day. Some people don't. So I'm going to say that yeah, I was going to actually divide the food science and tech into two, and I'm grateful that you mentioned the engineering part of it. What I did not think was that civil engineering and mechanical will come into it. I thought it was just going to
Yeah.
be basics. But so yeah,
It's
I
not.
want you to like enlighten us in that part. What were the things that were like a shock to you that oh, food science and tech really comprises of this thing as a course in the university?
Yeah. First and foremost, like I said, the engineering part. No, I till now, I'll be honest, I may not be able to see place why we did technical drawing and all, but like
Mm,
when it comes to mechanical engineering, one of the essential courses that we offer in food science is plant design. What do you call it? I think plant, just processing plants basically. So
yeah.
the plant design, the structure, the sanitation part. So I came to understand that the mechanical aspect of what we were doing actually has to do with plant designs. So most of these machineries that are used in food processing, they have to be developed with knowledge of a food scientist as well. I mean, a food scientist will know that okay, an hammer mill has to have a wide opening and then a very thin tip for the food to drop in. It's that is not created by someone who has no engineering knowledge at all. And yet that equipment is used for food processing. For people
Mm,
that are working in an industrial that are working in industrial plant, probably in beverage industries, big food processing industries like flour mills and all, the kind of plant designs, the kind of equipment they are using are actually designed by people that may be engineers but also have knowledge of food science. Can even be designed by people that have food science and technology background, basically. So those are one of the things I said that, oh, so if I want to go into that aspect, I can go into food process and plant design whereby I understand the kind of machines and how to optimize them for our food product and food processing and product basically. Another thing was the fact that I didn't know that we could also work in line with nutrition. Now, not the basic nutrition, like the nutrition and dietetics part. So it got to a time around our 400 level courses, our 400 level, we're taking courses on nutrition, food nutrition basically, and dietetics. And then
mm,
we had to be studying how food actually affects pregnant women. We had to
mhm,
know much about how food affects even these children. I know these are basic things that are taught in food biochemistry, where we talk about the limitations of protein, deficiencies of protein, carbohydrates, and so on. But like seeing, in fact, seeing the symptoms of people that are deficient in food or people that are not how would I put it now? For example, let me give an instance. One of the things I had to learn in food science was anorexia. This is a term that probably people in the medical field will understand, but like I didn't know that okay, there are people that can be anorexic and food science can also study that part. I mean, we tend to know that there are some people that once they eat food, they try as much as possible to vomit it after because they are afraid of gaining weight. That's an aspect of food science that may not be popularly talked about. Now, you can find a lot of nutrition students, people that actually study nutrition and dietetics, talking about this part. But it's also
mm,
a branch of food science that we have come to learn. So, how do we now from food science perspective, how do we now develop food that will make these people interested in eating and not vomiting? How can we develop food that can reduce these symptoms in people that are anorexic and the likes? So I think those are the two shocking things for me in food science that oh, so this is also part of my work. What else? Food chemistry. Okay, food chemistry too. When we start talking about structures, I mean, I didn't choose chemistry because I want to do organic chemistry. I didn't want to do organic chemistry. So why am I finding myself looking at the structures of protein, the
okay,
primary
yeah.
secondary, tertiary, quaternary structures of protein, amino acids. I mean, I'm trying to look at how lysine and cysteine and all. Oh, I mean, but obviously, I mean, everything is just towards problem solving. You know, you have to
Yeah.
solve problem. So all of them just that's just the good thing about food science. There are different branches that you can actually find yourself in. So
Mm-hmm.
I think, yeah. So
So
that's just the
I was
physics
going
that
to
I
ask,
mentioned.
yeah, those three. I think those three were really good: the biology, chemistry, and the engineering aspect. Because
Yeah,
I think most people would not see it. Because, like you said, some people would have thought that anything food science, anything nutrition, they are either like you are coming to come out cook, you are coming to learn how to
yeah,
bake or
yes,
things like that.
actually,
Yeah, I think some people have that thought, and they get into the system and they're like, "Sorry, I don't do
this is not what I
mathematics."
signed up for.
It's not what I signed up for, really. And
Actually,
it can be very amazing. So I was gonna ask, like, what when you did your industrial training, which is quite compulsory for some of us science students, and I
yeah,
am very grateful for the concept of industrial training. I like it
honestly,
because what were the things you learned there that probably you would not have learned if you were just in class throughout your, I guess, 5 years, because you're in FUTA, throughout your 5 years? Because I know industrial training will like give you reality, practicality of your course.
yeah,
So what were the things you learned and you were like, oh, if I was just in class throughout, I would not have learned this? Or what were the things that made sense to you? Like you've learned them in class, but like it
yeah.
made more sense when you were in the um corporate world or in the industry.
Okay, I think one of the number one shocker for me was in 300 level. We did a course on food microbiology. And the course is basically hazard analysis and critical control points. I
Mm,
mean, we had to start cramming all the seven principles of
principles
HACCP.
of
We had
HSCP.
to, like, I literally did not even understand what it's about. All I just know is there was something called CP, critical control points, CCP, I think MCP or something. I may not remember right now, but
Mm,
just need to cram because these things can actually carry 20 marks in the
yeah.
exam. And it definitely came out in the exam. Only for me to get to I did my IT in a chicken processing plant, a farm basically. So the farm has chicken processing units. They also have biscuits, pure water, and
Oh,
bread, the bakery part. So more like a also I worked in all those four units, but my best interest was in the chicken processing plant because I learned more there and I spent more time and I had good supervisors there. I'm not shitting the rest of them. So like I saw the live part of all these CCPs that we were talking about in class from
mm,
the I mean, I don't remember the terms right now, but like how that we deal with live chickens and how process them to become frozen. And it's an industrial, a very big industrial place. So they
mm,
sell to hotels and all those big kind of
yeah.
people. And then I saw that how important every step is before
Oh,
proceeding with the next. I mean, there are aspects whereby we have to clean and sort, the aspect whereby we have to weigh, the aspect whereby we have to ensure that physical contaminants are not
yeah.
found in the chicken
Mm-hmm.
processing. There's another point where we have to ensure that the chemical processes that we're adding, the chlorine that we're adding to water is at a very
Certain
perfect
level. Yeah.
yes, perfect level. It must not be too much, must not be too high so that it will not affect or
Mhm.
contaminate. You know,
Yeah.
there are different points. I mean, the plants were was in like I think about four, and in those four you can find like two critical control points that this
Mm-hmm.
this live birds, we call them carcass, must not go beyond these points without with this thing still being neat. We do
Mm-hmm.
evisceration. I think the evisceration is the heart of the
Yeah,
carcasses
removing
and
of
you know, we
byproducts.
have to yes, we have to
Yeah.
ensure that all of those intestine they are well sorted. We have a
Mm-hmm.
pathway and they are the physical representation of the CCPs, the HACCPs that I've been learning in class. So I was like, oh wow.
Yeah.
And then they have to go to a metal detector. I was like, really? I didn't know then and all of those things actually mean the quality control points. I mean, yeah, the
Yeah.
QCP and CCP, I remember now. Those are the quality control points that we as quality control officers have to ensure that they are very well
Mm,
okay before proceeding to the
mm-hmm.
next part. So I think in schools we didn't do just with maths, theory, just
Yeah.
theoretical. We didn't really do any quality control practical, like what is wrong with this thing? Should this thing proceed to the next stage or not? What we just is basically were the processing, and it's not our fault. I think that's how most Nigerian universities are. There is a
Yeah.
lack of enough practical. Sometimes it is when most of us actually go out there that we begin to see that, oh, so
Mm.
this is actually what they were telling us in class and all of those things. So I think the live representation, excuse me, of HACCPs was what shocked
Yeah,
me. And I was, okay, so this is it. So why are we not cramming now? If you should ask me to talk about this point, assuming we
you
had to do the
can.
practical before answering the exams, you know, it will be easier
Mm.
for students to be able to write. I mean, even with practical and relatable examples than if we are just cramming that, okay, CCP1 is this, CCP2 is this, CCP4 is this, and all those things. So
Yeah.
that's just food science is fun actually. I mean, industrial
It
experiences are
is.
always
Yeah, it is. I can relate to your
fun.
experience in chicken processing farm because my sister
Yeah.
worked in one, and I from all this go and do long holiday August
Mm-hmm.
break. Yeah, from I think I was around 12. Yeah, I think I was 12 the first time I went there. And like till date, if you ask me the entire processing from like outside, from bringing in the live
Exactly.
bed to the end, I can
You can
download it.
describe.
Yeah, I
You
can
can
describe it
describe.
and I can relate to like all the points, the quality control officers being very interested in one sample from here going to test and all those things. So
Yes, yes. I mean,
quite interesting. Now I want to
yeah.
ask that it's interesting, right? But mm, have you met someone that has an issue with your course? And then you have to like convince where the
I
person
think
is
those
like
are people that
familiar with it. Yeah?
should I go ahead to answer?
Yes, please.
The people that actually have issues with my course are people that don't have understanding about it.
Mm,
Like, let's say in my residential area now, like my parents' house. Oh, Esther is studying food science. She will know how to cook. Oh, do you know how to cook like this? I feel like those people don't have an understanding of it. And I'll be like, no, it is not food and nutrition. In fact, it's not catering. It is food science. In fact, I have to just do the reversal. This like the science about food. You know, chemistry, biology, physics. Those are the things I study about food. I don't study how to add Maggi and how to add. Okay, so we should not call it Maggi now. Seasonings and how to add spices and salt and I'm not studying how to measure the palm oil rates that you
yeah,
had. That okay, use can I speak Yoruba? Lo ṣíbí ọbẹ̀ kan, ṣíbí epo kan sí ẹ̀fọ́. No, the funny thing is you can even find food scientists that don't even know how to cook. But
yeah,
like once it comes to the area of food science, they are really good in it. So like it
mm,
goes to a time I was like, yeah, I that's what we do. We cook. I cannot just talk again because too many shalaye is not.
yeah,
It's not easy to explain. On the other hand, my mom may actually defend that, oh no, oúnjẹ kọ́ ló ń sè o, they are not cooking food o, what they do is but then now one of the ways we try to convince them is, do you know people that are working in Nestle, people that are doing Coca-Cola, that's the kind of work that that's the kind of course my daughter is studying. What they
yeah.
do, the processing, the preservation and everything, that's what my daughter is studying about so that she can work at
Yes,
Milo, work at Golden Penny, so that you know that,
yeah,
okay, those kind of and they are just cereals and their beverages and drinks and they are not
mhm,
jollof
mm,
rice, shibikon, 500 naira kind of. No, that's not what I do. So they are just the layman basically. So although we also have a responsibility of explaining to these people what food science really means. But then a
yeah,
one-time explanation cannot actually do them.
it
The
can.
best they can do is, oh, I remember that, is that not the course that Esther says she studied? Maybe someone else who mentions that course to them.
Yeah,
Oh, so the idea is not economics, the idea is not cooking, the
mm,
idea is that doing microbiology. What? They cannot even do microbiology. Let me speak Yoruba. Let me, because of, I just thought that we subtitling this so that all the other native language will be
I
properly understood.
understand.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
those
I
are
think I can.
even in school,
Yeah.
those engineering people be like, they don't even understand why we are doing their courses when we are studying food science. I'm like, but then over the time, they got to understand that. But so I think
Yeah, I
that's
quite understand that. And thank you for bringing it like practical example of what happens to you. So I'm
mm-hmm,
going to ask this now from the tech aspects. We know, right, that we are in a world that is like growing tech. Tech is advancing. There's AI,
yeah,
there's VR and all those things. And okay, so one of the personal things I've not experienced it. I'm looking to experience it. Is this 3D food design? I think, yeah, 3D. I don't know if you've heard of 3D before. Another
I
one
know
I
the
heard
3D
of,
when it comes to product prototypes. Yeah, that's why
yeah.
I have the dreams. Yeah.
So another one I heard of or like that I've researched on fully, I did it for my seminar presentation, was lab grown meat. Like growing meats, growing things in the
In the
lab,
lab.
basically. Yes. Uh, your reaction stays. I remember when I made the
It shows there are
presentation.
still a lot of things we don't know yet about
Yeah,
food
I remember
science.
when I made the
So,
presentation of lab grown meat. One of my lecturers, the first and only question I was asked was, "Grace, this thing you presented, can you eat it?" And I was like, yes. And
well,
she
if
just
it
told
is
me,
grown by you,
yeah, exactly. If it is grown by me, or if I was there throughout the process, but even if I was not, if you can give me a run through of everything you did and it aligns with what I've researched on, the scientists in me will want to try. It
well, the
seems so
scientist in you. But
yeah,
the
the scientists.
Nigerian in you, you want to try it.
Mm, I would not want to try. I don't want to. I would not want to go home and say that I tried it because they will ask me if everything is well with me. So like recently,
Yeah.
one of my lecturers here also said something about this 3D that they designed a food with 3D. I was like, no, you don't get like you did not plant it, you did not grow it in the lab, you designed it. She said yes, and I was like, and you expect me to eat it? Like machine is like designing something.
Okay, so if I get you now, they let me use the basic English.
Yeah.
They formed the food in the
Yeah, kind
laboratory.
of.
So that's what the
Yeah,
3D is about.
yeah.
Wow.
I don't know if you've watched
Not
Black
really.
Panther.
I think I didn't. I can't say
Yeah,
like
there was a
most of
part
it.
of the 3D design. So it's not food this time around, it was a herb, like something like that. So sometimes I'm often like, tech in food, we are probably not ready for what tech in food will do.
I feel like we may
In
be
the,
ready, but in Nigeria, we are not yet ready. But in developed countries,
yeah.
honestly, it's just like when I don't have an hands-on experience with plant protein, but I became interested because I was reading journals, the
Mm,
laboratory where I worked at, they push us to, read journals, just don't know about the step, just know about the science behind what you are doing. So I think I was trying to write a proposal and I came across plant protein. I was like, oh, I can do this, given the fact that I also have interest in underutilized legumes. And the kind of legumes I'm interested in also have high protein content, just like soybeans
yeah.
now. A lot of
Yeah.
people have explored soybeans. I've even seen people explore rice as a
Mm,
texturized form of vegetable protein, actually. Not like
wow.
plant protein, but like vegetable protein, texturized form. So, and when I look at some of their methodologies, the
Mm,
materials they use, just so we are lagging behind in Nigeria because most of the things that I've observed
mhm.
when it comes to even giving students thesis to work on for their final year project, it's just blends of this and blends of that, which would not even go beyond the library. Like after they publish and then it is dropped in library, that's all. They've gotten a
That's all
certificate, even up to master's level. So like I feel
true.
like we are not innovative enough in our thinking. And it's not I don't know, I can't say it's our fault or not, but like the government too. And besides, there are a lot of I don't want to say we are still trying to live normal in Nigeria. Not
Yeah.
everybody has access to basic things. So I understand the fact that we are doing plenty of this and that just to, meet the needs of people that cannot afford basic diets and all. But when it comes to
Yeah.
plant proteins and all, I think they've done it before in my laboratory, but I have not joined them then. So I was able to come across the
But
one they did
you
with
know the funny
soy
thing
and
is
palm
plant
kernel.
protein is not far fetched. Have you heard of best care?
It's not. Yes, exactly. That's
That is
that's a
it.
very typical example.
Yeah. But most
Using
people
from
don't
yeah.
know or like they don't understand.
Like just
And
something that alternates the meat that we are eating. I mean,
exactly. It's very
but like
interesting.
not many people do extrusion because now sorry,
No.
basket doesn't even require too much of extrusion. But like if
Mm,
you want to go very techy, like you want to go
yeah.
advanced, how many schools have an extruder? Not many schools have an
At
extruder. I mean,
don't go
plant
there.
design, now you have all those plant design and everything just to ensure that you
Uh,
get the correct. Not
yeah,
many
even
schools are
fermenter for like people that want to go the fermentation aspect, even for like proper fermenters, most schools don't have. I remember I wanted
the
to
only
work
fermentation
on,
we know is
yeah, I wanted to work on something. I was sharing an idea with my HOD in school then, and it has to do with I needed fermenter, and it was like, Grace, holy shit. but it's very fermental. Like, where do you want to get fermental? And I was like, "Ah, sir, it's just like that was the only thing that I needed, and that was the only reason why I could not do the project. Like, it was that simple.
Even if you get, you're going to spend, I'm sure you're going to spend millions of money because if that
Of
person is the only
course,
person in the whole Nigeria, it's going to be a
that's
whole
your
lot.
but research on plant-based proteins, right, is something I wish
Mhm.
Nigerians get to know for the health implication and um environmental safety and everything that comes with it. But there comes the question now that I'll throw to you. If we are promoting plant protein, are we saying we should not eat animal protein at all? And like, I mean, there are other types of meat alternatives. There's the insect based, there's the fungal
Mhm.
protein, that's mycoprotein, then the lab grown alternative, and this texturized vegetable protein. I've not heard of that before, but I think I would.
CVP. It was done in South Korea actually.
Oh,
I
really?
read the article from some people in South Korea. Yeah, those people are always thinking like if you if
So
you
if
if you, if
someone,
you want to get into developed foods, you can check their
yeah,
country. They're actually smart.
very,
So
very.
yeah, it's like
What would be your take on why should we take plant-based protein, or why should we even consider other non-animal protein sources?
okay. For me, one of the basic reasons why I'm interested in plant protein is it may not really be affordable, but we may also want to look at the affordability angle.
Yeah.
Um, I believe that we can introduce plant protein to Nigerians because when you go to rural communities now, I want to talk
Mm,
from their own perspective. Not everybody has the money to buy fish. Egg in Nigeria is I think 250 naira. You're buying two for 500 naira. There was a time they were patronizing, they were advertising egg 300 naira. And that time said it was
yeah.
already expensive. Last time it was like two for 15 naira then. You get so
Mm,
I feel like not everyone has access um to basic complete animal protein. I know eggs is like it has the complete is it essential amino acid, is a complete protein.
yeah.
So I believe that we can introduce it but not in a very expensive manner. Because if we are introducing a very expensive plant protein to people, now it is only the rich in Lagos and Abuja that may be able to get it. But people
Mm,
in the local part of Nigeria, I don't want to mention names now because I can't even remember, but like when you go to deep communities,
yeah.
those people that most times they even rely on getting bushmeat for their own protein. Not everybody
Mm,
can buy egg, not everybody can buy fish. Even the kpala that we have been managing now, kpala now, you cannot even see 20 naira kpala. It's from
at
500
all.
naira upwards. Here you get. So I believe that for plant protein to be is it created now gotten from soybeans and so many
Yeah.
other soybean is a major plant
Yeah.
protein
Major.
source. Then
Mm,
any other legumes that are actually similar when it comes to
mm,
the protein characteristics of soybeans, we should also be able to get plant protein from them. I mean,
mm,
now talking from part of underutilized legumes like bambara nut also has high level of protein. I mean, may not be at exactly as soybean, but I think it is close to that of soybean. We have I think we have African yam bean, we have pigeon
yes.
pea.
Pig, pig
These
soup.
sources are they are not really yeah, they are not really explored in Nigeria. Like and I feel like
Yeah.
if they are really explored, then the way we can get protein sources, plant protein sources from soybeans, we can also get it from these underutilized legumes I listed. And when we
Mm,
check where most of these underutilized legumes are being grown, they are grown even among these rural community members. So if we can
yeah.
find easier means of them to get plant protein, might not necessarily have to be like meat but something
Yeah.
similar like the basket now, if they're able to get it from, it will be that means that legume will move from being underutilized to being utilized, and then there will be an acceptance of the fact that we can see protein sources from these legumes.
Mm-hmm.
And then we also have access to protein and to still do the work that they want to do. I don't know if I'm answering this question well, but like I believe that if plant proteins can be gotten from other sources and the
Yeah.
process of getting these plant proteins will not be too costly, I feel like Nigerians can accept it here. We can accept it here in Nigeria. I
Mm,
mean, I cannot go for and there are people that even from the best care, you see that some people can buy as much as 20 and put it in their own soup and use it as
yes.
meat.
Yeah.
Because uh, if I can buy one, I don't know how much you sell breast cancer, but if I'm able to do it myself and then I can get as much as maybe 20 baskets with just 1,000 naira stuff.
Seven.
You know that 1,000 naira mala fish now is like for small, small for mala. What's
Yeah.
mala in English? I don't know the
We had
botanical name, but
to.
it is.
Yeah.
Yes. And if I want to buy egg, 1,000 naira egg is like four. Oh, see, all of them are even four. Now imagine you just maybe 1,000 naira soybeans and the processing and everything. I'm able to get
Mm-hmm.
enough something in my soup. And you know,
Yeah.
Nigerians now, as long as they can see something on your inside your soup and just like, this person has meat in this
Mm.
our soup. So I feel like as long as it is affordable to do, and then we can make them see the advantage of the fact that this thing also has plant protein, like it has enough protein, and
Yeah.
we can find the means of extracting protein
From
sources
this.
modification, whatever term it is, pardon whatever term I use for it. I feel like we can accept it. It does not have to be the vegan style, like people
Yeah.
that are trying to be into vegan. Is it vegan diet or whatever now? People that are trying to
Yeah.
be into that diet lifestyle and they don't want to be
Mm.
eating meat because of complications and all. It does not have to be like that. As long as they can get the protein source
Protein.
that they need
Yeah.
from um that they need from the whatever food crop they are
Mm.
working with, I feel like it can be accepted. I don't know, but I believe we should be able to if we are considering people that don't have access to protein. But if we are
Yes.
considering even people that they have money, people like to buy things to show off. Oh, I just tasted this soy protein, whatever, from this company.
Yeah.
Maybe let's now say that it's people like KFC that are bringing it to Nigeria. Oh, it tastes so nice. They also will buy it. But like looking at community impacts now and community nutrition, I
Yes.
feel like
Yes. Yeah.
we can
Thank
afford.
you so much for that response. Okay. So for context now, panla is hake fish. For people wondering what panla is, panla is hake.
Thank you. Mala is a fish, oh,
Hake fish.
please help me say.
And beske is tofu. TOFU. Yeah. Tofu from soya bean. So like that's what we've been
Yeah,
saying.
basically it's tofu.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So that's
soy
what.
tofu. Thing.
Yeah, that's what we have been saying. So yeah, thank you for the plant-based chart. So another thing that was an issue for me and related to food, and I think you should relate as a food scientist and technology personnel, would be food packaging,
Okay.
particularly plastic packaging. The
Hmm.
the rate of
I'm listening.
plastic pollution from food products can be very alarming, honestly. It can be very alarming. Even where I am, there are still sometimes I'm like, do you need to package this thing? I mean, you could just leave the banana alone and not put the banana inside the plastic bag and leave it
Yeah.
on the store shelf. And then when I'm going home, I'll pick it again, put it inside another plastic bag. That's double packaging. While the banana itself already has a peel to protect it, sort of.
Mm-hmm.
So what can you say about
Yes.
food packaging in Nigeria, plus our environmental concerns? I mean, plastic pollution here and there,
Oh, gosh.
blocking of drainages, so many
Okay.
things happening. Like, what would you say? What can you say about food packaging? And what do you think can be the solution or what we can do?
Okay, now, I think lately, last time we were discussing about food packaging in class, and one of the lecturers was saying that one of the things that she is now impressed about is the fact that, sorry, I don't know, okay, is the fact that because we understand that these things are causing pollutions. One of the things
Mm,
she has observed is, this Hausa men or these northerners now, they've
mm,
gone around. Before now, we used to ignore whenever we see things in. Now, let me be specific about like the actual plastic now. We used to
yeah,
plastic bottles, plastic
pet bottles.
plate and everything.
Mm,
Once you touch them, sometimes you even have to burn them. But now there are people that are now doing recycling of those products.
yeah,
There was a time that Coca-Cola, I think they still do, but like it's not as rampant as carrying all those notice their plastic, no, their glass bottle.
glass
And once
bottles.
you are done with the glass bottle, they'll have to collect
You
and
take it
then
back.
I think they
Yeah,
have to wash. Of course, they are washing, they are cleaning and all, but I mean, the contamination risk is still high, unlike dispose. I think this is why they have to resort to disposable bottles too. And also given the fact that some other beverage companies too are also going into plastic. And as long as anything is very easy for us to grab and go, Nigerians will
yeah,
go. This is why Biggie was able to penetrate the market. They started with very small size of Biggie cola, and that time, Coca-Cola people were still using. 60 cl, big
So
size. And then if people are going for affordability, you have to come down also be able to meet people's needs. Sure you get. So but now we have not people that are picking up these bottles and they're getting paid for picking it up. And then we
yeah.
have people that are actually recycling this plastic that they are being picked up. But basically, I believe the reason why plastic packaging is still being used is because of the food products, I mean, to avoid contamination, you
Mm.
know. But then there are some also packages that are done just to reduce, for now, for example, now for fruits, probably want to reduce the rate of ripening in that fruit now.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't really have to be plastic package, but like there are ways that people actually package it just to, reduce the oxygen intake of that fruit to
Yeah.
reduce. But if you're talking about nylon base, I don't know if we can classify that one to as plastic
Plastic.
packaging.
Yes, it is. Nylon is
Mm-hmm.
under plastic.
Okay, yeah, yes, we can. Thank God. Oh, it's good to have good scientists there. Imagine if I'm really what I'm saying.
Yeah, nylon is under plastics.
Uh,
So
so I think for that one, if they are using a black lion for that, they are very wrong when it comes to packaging banana because as long as banana can see anything dark, it can thrive it. The rate of ripening can be so fast. That's why
yeah,
sometimes if you want to get ripened plantain ASAP, just I think there was a
type.
method they taught us when I was in school. Tie the tip of the
Yeah,
joint tip of the fingers with black nylon. So if I want to do my own, I will tie it with black nylon. I will now put inside a black nylon. I will now hide it inside a very dark space.
the
Especially if
dark
I want to
face.
come out ASAP.
Yeah, it's
So you get so
ripen.
maybe they want to listen the ripening. Probably they feel like maybe I don't know, maybe you told them that you want to ripen though. I don't know. Or is it just there?
No, it's
And two
just
the
their
things that
packaging.
was interest.
It's just like
Um
they package anything packable here,
yes. Yes.
especially when
And
it
the
comes to like ready to eat products. So like you just see
mhm,
one small box like this,
plastic. In fact,
um,
we've even stopped the use of this I've forgotten what we call the name now. This
styrofoam.
foam.
Yeah,
Yes,
styrofoam.
styrofoam that we use in package. Although I know that there are still some people when you go to the market here, you see it to sell food. Like it must not
Definitely.
be cut because this is actually have adverse health effect on us. I imagine something
Mhm.
that you can easily melt and use it to do something when we were so small. I think there was a way
Yeah,
we could melt. I can't remember what
gum.
we used it to produce then.
I think it
Mm-hmm.
was gum
So
or something.
I think yeah, it's actually gone. So now imagine, and people are consuming food. Now imagine if
Yeah,
such packaged food inside styrofoam is actually kept in a very hot condition, like under the sun, maybe after
inevitably.
collecting the package from the styrofoam packaging now, and then you have
Yeah,
to go under the sun. The sun also will actually find it will melt it somehow. It may not be very obvious like light or heat, but like somehow
mm,
the chemicals that have been used to produce those things will drop into the food and these things
yeah,
actually cause increase the rate of cancer. So I don't know, but I feel like sometimes you may want to go into I don't know carton kind of
yeah.
packaging. There's something we call it in good science. Oh,
Paper-based
chat
packaging. If you want to go the paper
ahead.
route,
Yeah, it may actually be okay, but and I want to say that, but people will think about how to handle it. But I feel like there are some paper-based packaging that they also have handles and
mm,
are very better. I mean, to carry. If we are looking at
yeah,
carryability if there's something
yeah.
like that like carryability too so um I don't know if I've really done I feel like I've not done justice and that's because
No, no, it's fine.
I'm
It's a conversation. So like
yeah
we're just talking. So
so
for me, I think one of the things I've also learned in recent times I think the packaging thing moved from like metal packaging, like in the olden
mhm,
days, metal,
yeah
is it metal, then there's the issue of metal rusting and
yes
iron,
yes yes yes
um,
yes
yeah, let's say iron ions being dropped into whatever you
to
package,
the food
and then they
yeah
modified it to glass, using glass. Then the issue of glass was glass breaking and probably injuring people, or like bits of glass
yeah
particles in food. And then we moved to plastics. But it's like there's no best. I don't
there's
think
no
we can get
best
to
method
a point where we can say that is 100% safe. So even now we are
yes
moving away from plastic again to maybe paper packaging or some more biodegradable packaging. Which
packaging
work. I was very interested in biodegradable packaging. I was making research, and sometimes I like to talk to my mentor about it. until I saw a post that said these materials are biodegradable in the lab, but not in the environment. And I was like, okay, why did you call them biodegradable? Because I was happy that, I mean, there are times I would want to buy something, maybe a tea bag, and I would choose that particular tea bag because it is biodegradable.
Yeah.
I would always choose, maybe it's biodegradable or it's like from a plant-based material. I'll choose, and then I heard it's biodegradable in the lab under certain conditions, which may not be
Not
achievable in the
outside.
environment. And I was like,
So why
okay, so
increase it?
exactly. So what else should we do? What should we
I think
use?
since we have people in the research space,
Yeah.
good thing about research doesn't stop. I'm sure that people are also currently
Okay.
researching better methods, safer methods of packaging.
Mm-hmm.
It's not in my line, so but like I'm so sure. So with time,
Yeah.
once and Nigerians now we wait for them to announce something in international countries, then introduce it
Mm-hmm.
to ourselves. I hope that we have Nigerians that are thinking towards that part.
There's
And the funny thing is, this
thing.
plastic and these old plastic things, we also use it to pollute our own house because sometimes when you enter kitchens too, all the liners that we have used to get some things, they are
Pretty
just
outside.
sitting pretty in
Yeah.
probably the window, the cupboards, and before you know it,
Yeah.
this will become breeding rooms for cockroaches, insects that are
Mm-hmm.
not even invited in the first place. And another
Yeah.
thing is, some people feel like to reduce the waste of plastics when they want to do more beans
Reduce the
pudding for
yeah.
our viewers, when they want to do more like this now, they
Yeah.
will use it for it. I think I got a more about 2 days ago too. It was my heart ached, but I had to eat it because I was hungry. But like the moimo was done in the plastic, and I'm sure that was how they like should I say baked it or that was how they
Yeah.
steamed the
Steamed it.
directly, just pour directly, and I just
Mm.
felt I feel like using the leaves will still be better because according to
Honestly.
I've not done my research, but like according to research, they said it has more nutritional advantage.
Yeah,
At least the
it has
leaf for it to be able
antioxidants
to
and
accommodate food.
yeah.
Unlike plastic that have been chemically processed to give us
Yeah.
that package, whatever. So
It's just so
um,
annoying because sometimes you know when you have to do things in reality, like let me do this way, and then your scientific mindset will just tell you, is that supposed to be it? And you're like, see, I cannot come on because
I was
the more
telling
you
someone
learn, yeah,
I was telling someone that some of us, we are those that even disobey what we know the most. Like we ignore these things. I was like, you can find a medical doctor telling you that don't drink alcohol, it's not good for your health, it's not this, it's not that. But when the person is even very tired or just wants to forget whatever,
go for
especially here in
it. It's
Nigeria,
so
that probably
awful.
they may not properly paid, you see them resorting to alcohol, even while they are still medical students. And then, like me now, it's not to have mercy. It's very easy to give advice than to even use the advice for
Practice it
yourself. So many give and
sometimes.
take. Sometimes
Yeah.
you just sometimes we talk about the rancidity of oil and we're eating oil. When outside, I may not want to buy a beans cake akara now
Yeah.
that the oil is not looking very nice. But in my own house, I can use the same oil I use for akara to
Yeah.
fry
Yes. Five
plantain
something
because
years.
I just feel like the cost of oil, but then we know
Yeah.
that these things are actually dangerous, but then we are
I think the
the
major thing
see
is just trying to get
the
better the little way you
yeah,
can. Just try to. I was still speaking with a friend last night, and I was like, I felt like eating puff puff. I was like, but the oil. I was
so
like,
much.
the oil. I'm like, I don't think I want to do that. So it's, but I'm grateful that we get to research these things, we get to know it, and most likely, and very important, is that we do not keep this knowledge to ourselves. We like share to
Yes,
people
that's
as much
yeah.
as we can. Because some of these things, like you mentioned, food affordability now, some people, not like they don't know the truth, but because they can't afford the best of things, they just have to make do with whatever they have, or
It's
maybe they're in a
accessible.
location that is restricted, like this is only what you can get in this place. I mean, so they just have to just make do with it, even though it's not in the best position. So I'm going to ask you this.
Like that.
What is one food safety issue you have experienced or seen or heard of and you are like, like what's that one food safety concern that got at you?
You see, in practical aspect or probably when I heard it in food science.
Anyone. You can give us two.
Okay,
One in
I just I
practical.
just I just mentioned reusing of oil that leads to rancidity. The oil
Yeah.
will become very rancid. I mean, I feel like growing up, most household actually does that. We just keep the oil somewhere, cover it, or probably return it to a different plastic. We don't want to contaminate it with the
Yeah.
pure oil. So imagine
Mm.
hearing that this can actually increase the risk of cancer. Like, God, I beg. So this is actually
Are we supposed to
so
discard the
serious like
oil?
this. So yeah. But sometimes the consolation we give ourselves is my grandfather, my grandmother, they have been doing this thing and they lived 90
We
something
did not
years.
die.
You know, that's the kind of consolation we give
Oh my
ourselves. But
god.
then when you think about it really, I mean, different the oil will become really dark and you
Yeah.
just that's why I think for me, if I want to use oil now, one of the things I've been practicing, I don't know, it may not be ideal too, but like I feel like it's still better than me using the past oil. Is that
Mm.
once I let's say I buy a fish now, a frozen fish, and I fry it. The moment I'm frying that fish, that same oil, I just use it to cook the soup directly that same day, rather than
Yeah.
just keeping it. And now imagine when you buy puff puff now, and then someone has used that same oil to fry meat, fish pie, and meat pie. No, fish pie basically, because that's what they used to
Yeah.
fry. And the whole oil will be smelling fishy. And you buy puff puff, and the puff puff will be smelling like fish. But it's puff puff I got. Why am I perceiving fish? And there's no fish inside the puff puff or bones. So you get so
Yeah.
it's those kind of things that are actually trying to tell us to beware about. Because aside from
Mm.
the off flavor now that you get from it too,
Yeah.
I mean, health wise, these things are not good. We're eating all and all that. Another thing I also noted is freezing arrangement or refrigerating arrangement of food. I mean, you can't
Mm.
place your meat on top of your
Add it up.
fruit, on top of it. Yeah, because of smell.
Contamination.
That
Yeah.
will not
Smell.
affect it. And also, you have to place the
Yeah.
most smelly one meat, and then
Down.
the fruit and vegetables should be up, your rice or whatever you're keeping in the freezer. So, like
Yeah.
these are basic things that we actually do before. I'm like, oh, this thing. So it's actually really wrong. Now this
Mm-hmm.
is from processing and all of this. So this is actually wrong. I didn't
Yeah.
know. Or sometimes it may actually make more sense when it is something that is being done in your house before, but you don't have the science behind, you don't understand the science behind why this thing is done until you
Yeah.
study food science and then or someone casually makes a post about it that this is not how you should arrange it. Like, oh no wonder my mom used to
Mm-hmm.
arrange this way," instead of should be like you usually smell,
Yeah.
but like I believe that freezer should be able to freeze the smell and everything
Everything.
freezable out of it
Yeah.
and also
That's not
I
true.
think that's what I can point out to. Yeah, those
Yeah.
I can
In the
remember.
course
So
of
the
your
university.
learning, you're welcome. Was there a part on food additives? Because that's something I think people do. Like we just want to add
Yeah.
this either for economic importance to like people that sell at Agungun. Okay, so for someone like me at home, my mom will usually not buy at Agungun that has
Aboki
been
so
blended
never.
in the market. She'll tell you they would have grinded something with it. She'll prefer
Mm-hmm.
buying the pepper herself and taking it to the mill to grind, or like we blend it at home or
We even do
something.
that's how we do it at home. I mean,
Yeah. So like have you heard any case of like food additives and it becoming a wire? Especially from the food scientist aspect.
um, I'm trying to remember a product. I remember right now, but let me start from the powdered atagungu pepper, powdered pepper atagungu that you
Yeah.
mentioned. I think my first experience with that was basically my parents, to my mom. She buys the dry pepper and then we blend it in our own blender at home and then we divide it amongst the children, go to your school with your blended pepper. I mean, so I think that was time that I finished and I just needed, now, university student survivor at
Mm.
Agogo is a must. So bought from bought from a northern man, the Hausa man, and it was not even you can use a very huge amount and it does not taste pepper. And in fact, or spicy. And in fact, even the color is so different. I mean, you
Yeah.
can get a bright red one that you milled at home, and then you are seeing
Dark.
the Hausa's man pepper is giving dark red.
Well,
It just occurred to me that people are actually adulterating it. They are adding
yeah.
something else just to make more
Mm.
money and just adding something else. And this may not be the case of additive now, but like sometimes our beans, these are one of the practical examples they taught us in class that sometimes the beans that we buy, you wonder why some beans actually have more stones, more shafts, why some beans are It's because they just want to, I don't know if I'm
Mm.
answering the question, but let me just say what is coming to my mind.
Yeah.
Those people just want to increase the weight of whatever it is. So you know,
Mm.
stones, all of those things will carry more weight when they're added to beans and just pack everything. This is one rubber of beans and then the price for it. But by the time you actually, even in the case of soybeans, by the time you actually pick these beans, you realize that the amount of stone and shaft
Mm.
and the amount of the beans is more like 50-50. So it's more like you bought a 50% beans and then the
Yeah.
rest is just stone. So this may not be because of additive, sha, but like the adulteration. So
Yeah.
um
Yeah.
I think when I first heard about this whole food, it was in my final year, food additive, food adulteration, food contamination. I'm trying to remember. I think I may remember. I don't know if you can give an example of the food, but I'm trying to remember a food that ah I can't remember. But I'm sure there
That's
are foods that when we hear that they were adding some things to it, it kind
fine.
of I don't know if this counts. Like bread now. Back then I heard there was a reason why they had to stop them from adding ah this
Is it
saccharin now.
bromate? Saccharin, yeah.
Do you know bromate of this is it bromate now and there's
Bromate,
saccharin and all
yeah,
those things.
bromate free.
Yeah. Hmm. So those kind of I don't know if I've seen I don't think I've seen a bread that is actually filled with bromate before because
Mm,
I think when growing up, that's when they had to start. Um, that's when the regulatory agencies had to like
yeah,
inform these workers not to add these things because they are injurious to health. So I feel like that would, although I didn't have the first-hand experience with that one. Sha. I feel like there is one that I may not just remember. But that's it's okay not to remember, right?
yeah, it's fine. I think we really just did justice to food additive and adulteration. I made a mistake of giving an example of adulteration instead of additives, but like the
Yeah,
bromate you said now and saccharin and then remember this ajinomoto, those are like ingredients people used to
yeah,
cook, but
yes, yes,
oftentimes, yeah, we realize that they are more deadly than we think they are good or like they make sense.
yes.
Um, so the last thing I'll be asking now is the career prospects. That'll be the last, and then maybe just the final word to any food scientist, any food science and tech student. Career prospects, or what are the career things you have heard of? I know you are not yet fully in the industry yet. So what are the career things you have heard of that oh somebody that studied food science and tech can go for these job roles or job positions? What are some of those things?
Okay. Most food science students may know this, but quality control. I feel like most
Mm,
of us find ourselves in that field when we go for our industrial training. Because that's it. Even to industries like water, we have to also do the
mm,
quality control aspect. And I feel like that's still the most explored area of food science. For every food science graduate, food science and technology graduate,
mm,
food science and engineering graduate, just food science graduate, food technology graduate, food engineering graduate, in fact, food microbiology graduate, in fact, microbiologists alone, sef, you find a lot of them
mhm,
in the quality control area. And I feel like the reason why that is explored is because we have a lot of food industries in Nigeria. I feel like worldwide, food industries are more because people eat, we
yeah.
need to live daily, we need to eat food. So these are
Mhm.
industries are there to like help us probably in already processed foods, I mean already ready to eat foods,
Ready to eat
in
food.
just adding ingredient and then get your food more
Yeah.
sweet and spicy and whatever, and probably for basic ingredients like flours and rice
Mm,
processing, and also like in quality control food science students are needed
mm,
basically. And also when it comes to product development, I mean most products that are developed, products will be developed for there to be quality control people, and
mm,
we can find most food science when it comes to the research and development part of food product development. Now this is why for most of these industries you just see that okay, before let me start with Biggie Cola now. Biggie Cola is actually known to decide with just the cola. They just wanted
yes.
to they wanted to match up with their competitors. And before you know it, they introduced tropical cola,
Yeah.
Biggie Cola. They introduced the
The
orange.
orange.
They introduced the apple. These are
Yeah.
these are works of food science student, food science graduate too. Although other people can do it, but like these are fields that we are supposed to be finding ourselves there. Like
Mm,
when it comes to you do your market research, some people will be like, oh, they don't like the cola. What else can we do? Let's introduce fruits into these things so that people that are trying to do carbonated fast, oh, maybe they can reconsider when they see something that looks like juice and
mm,
let me go for this. You get so
mm.
that aspect as well, introducing new ideas, developing new food products, and
Yeah,
um even in Indomie as an Indomie brand, Indomie noodles brand
yeah,
now, when we look at them now, they've introduced veggies. Even though that
yes.
was the company that I knew that started with veggies, one mini meal, some not mini meal, one tummy tummy. They
Mimi,
started
which one?
um tummy tummy.
Okay,
Tummy
okay, tell
tummy.
me. Tell me.
I don't know why they are not existing now. Maybe they are still existing, but like they started it, and then Indomie too
There used to be
introduced it.
one
I
that
mean,
was There used to be a
yeah,
noodles brand. It was
hmm,
not popular. It was close to where I was living, the company, but like it folded up. They had seafood, veggies, Oriental. I think they had Oriental before Indomie started Oriental. But for whatever reason, I'm not even sure they lasted up to 5 years.
ah, assuming they are still lasting, my thought would be that probably Indomie can partner with them, but they'll just be Indomie brand. I know, some of these companies they actually do that.
They
Mm.
buy it up. Yeah, that's
Mm.
true.
So, in the aspect of product development, those kind of it's because Indomie already has name. Don't mind them. And that's the good thing. That's we can also go into food businesses. I mean, food business development is
Yeah,
one of the courses I'm currently taking in my master's program, and they are forcing us to think. Like you don't have to get masters and still be jobless. Go and think about a
yeah,
product that you can do. So it's still related to product development and all. Then the being a food engineer. I think I
yeah.
mentioned it at the beginning, how that you can go into designing of equipment, machineries,
Mm,
that are used for food science. I mean, you just think about the fact that not everybody has access to probably a drying equipment, and people need to dry their food. Now,
yeah,
when you are
yes,
traveling interstate in Nigeria, you just find out that people are spreading cassava, yam chips or whatever. No, the
yeah.
dried one. People are putting on the pier road,
On
on
the
the
highway
Mhm. main road though. And then I just as I hear that's the food safety this thing. I just what is this?
with all
And
the
then you be like,
fumes from the vehicles, all the maybe
yes,
engine oil that just
the
drops
sound
on the road.
from the
Yeah, the
doors
sound
itself,
of the road
or the fact
too.
that the bird can come and just chop one or two,
Let's
pick it
speed on
with
it.
this
Yeah,
what they call their is it their mouth, their
yeah,
beak
big.
now, and then just fly.
Yeah,
Contamination. I mean, and then these people will gather everything, mill it, and then go and sell in the market. I mean, it is well. We are eating out of. It's
a
just
lot
God
of
has been
things.
keeping us of us. God has been keeping us
A lot of
because we just need to
things.
eat and survive. So that kind
Yeah,
of what I was talking about equipment. Now you can design equipment whereby people can come and try their stuff, get money from it. That's a food business and food
yeah.
engineering. Or you can just be designing equipment for people that want to start a business
Mm,
in Nigeria. Instead of being waiting for imported stuff, just stay strong with about small product companies and all. If it works out, you
yeah.
can go full scale. Now I'm talking about the money wise part. I think I've talked about quality control. You can go into research as well. I feel like
Mm,
that was actually I'm still on my own journey as well, but one of my interests right now is to be in the research industry.
mm,
Research on more products and how we can explore them more. Instead of
yeah.
just staying in the industry production. But honestly, I feel like
There are other
production,
things
yeah,
like the
for
waste,
me,
like exploring food waste usage, like what's the
yes,
waste can be used
yes.
for instead of just discarding.
Just yes, just research. And there are very different aspects of food that you can research on. Go you
Mm,
can check the processing, you can check the utilization, you can check the nutritional aspect, you can look at the
yeah.
safety aspect, you can look at recycling, turning food waste into the good thing is when you go outside there or when you look online, there are so many projects around these areas that people are like looking for students to, for
Yeah.
as long as you communicate why they should pick you. And this is why
Yeah.
some of us, just trust God that it will work
God will
out. We
make
need
a way.
to
Yeah.
so research part, you can go into academics as well, become a distinct lecturer, not just lecturer that come and be dictating notes for you that food processing is the
Mhm.
act of turning food and storing food and mixing food and no,
Yeah.
like in fact I feel like lecturers even need to do better. You don't have to wait for the school Students, as long as you know that they're going to gain from whatever field trip they are going, it doesn't have to be somewhere outside of the state. Even a
Mm-hmm.
mini food industry, give them an understanding, excuse me,
Sorry.
understanding of what you are talking about in class. Would actually not just lab because not all laboratories are well equipped, but go to industries.
Yeah.
Industries still have, and they stay more with students than
Yeah.
just the basic language. And some people will even be at the back discussing why some people are
Yes.
actually writing it down. So a distinct lecturer that you can bring relatable examples to the student for them to understand very well. Probably also have that industry connection so that you can also bring your student over there for them to
Anything.
have
Yes.
understanding of the
Yeah.
academia and I mentioned product development. Yes, the regulatory agencies, there are a
Yeah.
lot of food science you can find there. Just to ensure that all the people that are spreading yam and cassava on the main road or plantain on the main road. In fact, because don't be too harsh on them, sha, because they are trying to survive, but not at the risk of human
Yeah.
health, please. So let them understand. Probably just put them behind bars for like one day. But that's not how to implement it. Sha. Make them
Necessary.
awareness, sensitize them,
Yeah.
make them see
Awareness.
that this thing they are doing
Awareness.
is so wrong. Even if they defend you that will that be subtitled? Even if okay, let me just even if they say that, but that is what our forefathers have been eating. That's what we have been eating, and we are still
Mm.
alive. For you to come and just tell them that now, not everybody's body system can actually take it. I mean, some
Yes.
people can be all these things have effect on people's body system. Some people
Yeah.
can actually conveniently eat contaminated stuff. It may not affect them.
Without
Why some
any
people
issue.
just even the
Yes.
smell alone can really
Yeah.
affect their health. So we should the regulatory agencies, the NAFDAC, the SON,
Yeah.
the FAO,
Yes.
and
I
all of
feel.
those things. As long as
Yeah.
you are determined, I mean, don't just relax and wait for job for you. Probably just laboratory experiences to food analysis, food chemistry,
Yes.
food analysis basic. I forgot to mention that as well. So food analysis, those are people that probably most times for people that are into I'm talking from the research aspect now. So many people are carrying out research on the protein content, carbohydrate content,
Yes.
fat
Yeah.
content, functional properties. These are the work of people that work in the laboratory. You analyze food samples to also know if they will be good for human consumption.
Human consumption. Mm.
Sorry.
Sorry. How
They
much
will be good for
nutritional
human
value?
consumption.
Yeah.
Yes, know the nutritional content, know the nutritional factors in this food, know
Mm.
the things, a lot of things actually. And then the AI part now. And there was time my supervisor at the lab gave us work on a review on AI in food processing, nutrition, and every other
Oh
things.
wow.
Food microbiology as well,
Yeah.
it links to food safety as well,
Mm.
knowing I think aflatoxin levels in food, certain laboratory based work, sha, but like
Yeah.
different aspects, food chemistry, food microbiology. That's one I was mentioning the other time I forgot. Okay, AI
Yeah.
we are in the world of AI. How can you come in as a food scientist using AI? You mentioned the 3D products this thing now.
Yeah.
You mentioned we are looking at plant protein, we have all of those things. Now, I think for people that want to go into the nutrition part of food, how can you check your if you want to go into the clinics, if you want to be at the medical line of nutrition, because we
Yeah.
have people that brand science nutrition. Just how can they use AI to help your clients, not clients, now
Mm.
patients, call them patient
Patience.
now, like monitor whatever it is that is wrong with them. Probably those that have low blood pressure, high blood
Yeah.
pressure, low sugar level, high
Yeah.
sugar level. Instead of them coming, you have to make informed decisions about their meals and all, like how to monitor them, using AI, developing apps, even to research as well. So I feel like it's a really large field that you can explore. But
Yeah.
the one that one can explore the most should be the business part, product development part, because these are basic skills that they teach every food science. So even if you are waiting for a job, you can just start something. Don't start
Mm.
something that is common. Start something that is don't start frying chin chin and frying. Look for
Yeah.
and a food problem. In this life
Mhm.
now, in this world and age, people are looking at convenience. Not everybody
Yeah.
wants to really has the time because people are working 24/7. People are saying Gen Z. So how can you come in as someone that does convenient food, processed convenient
Mm.
food for people? Look at South Korea now. They have this ready to eat noodles. Now you just need to do is
Yeah.
probably put water and
Hot
cover.
water.
And it's yeah,
You are done.
I feel like we need to even learn a lot from those people, those Asians, basically. So, how can you don't actually wait for? job to come. While you're applying,
Yeah.
why not just get something by the side? So I feel like these are the areas that food science people can really explore. Basically, just
Mm,
look at strengths and the one you can try in and
yeah.
something.
Yeah, that's so great. Thank you so much. I really enjoyed this episode. Thank you so
Yeah,
much for everything you shared. Thank you.
thank
And
you.
I really wish you well in all that you do, your masters, and when you get to be a full-time successful researcher. Thank you so much
Thank
for
you so much.
joining
Thank you
Grace
too.
seriously. To our audience, thank you for watching, and of course, we have more episodes coming for you. And don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, and just share your insights related to food science. Or if you know one's food scientist around the corner, please get the person to watch this. See you in our
Yeah.
next episode.